Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the Dean Blundell Show. My name is Dean. You're watching us on Twitch TV, Dean Blundell TV, either YouTube, DeanTube, RedTube, whatever. Pornhub. You get us everywhere. Probably can't get me on Pornhub yet, thank God. Not that I know what it is. Anyway, thanks for joining us and being part of the podcast brought to you by Blue Microphones. Blue Microphones, the #1 podcast broadcast microphone. Go to @BlueMicrophones on Twitter. Surf their stuff. It's incredible. I do it like every Saturday. It's like a weird thing I have where I look at all the tech and I drool. Owner's Box Fantasy Sports, premier fantasy sports platform. And what they want to do is make sure that you've got an Xbox. They're giving away Xbox Series X's right now when you sign up for their platform. Totally free to play fantasy sports. And you sign up right now, you get like $500 Black Friday cash bonus. $500. You deposit $500, they match $500. That's a great deal. Owner's Box Fantasy Sports. Join now. Also, thanks to our friend Ed. Ed's Fine Imports in his Gitch. Right now, promo code GITCH3 gets you 4 pairs of Gitch for the price of 3. EdsFineImports.com. Man, oh man, it was a weird weekend. It was like I tried to stay off the internet. I tried to stay away from work. I tried to not blog. I tried to not pay attention to fucking losers barbecuing and talking about barbecuing and barbecue guys going to jail. And I tried to stay away from all the bullshit that comes with a pandemic and the people that don't disagree and the ones that do disagree, the hoaxers and the anti-hoaxers, the maskers and the anti-maxers. And I generally tried to stay away from everybody this weekend, but the 3 folks that we've got here for today's podcast, they're here by design. Please welcome lawyer from, is it sadvocacy.com? Is that the name of your Caryma Saad? Nice to see you. She's a lawyer. Look at her. She's a we got a real learned person. We don't just have a bunch of rock stars and male apes on the program here today. It's nice.
Thanks for having me.
It's really nice to have you. I'm glad you're here. We're getting some legal perspectives from Caryma. Also, Darrin Pfeiffer's back from the rock and roll band Goldfinger and the Dangerous Darrin podcast, Adobe Radio, Spotify, DeanBlundell.com. Hello, Darrin. How are you, sir? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Lochlin Cross, he's a morning guy at Cruise 95.7 in Edmonton, otherwise known as Locker. He's here today, and he wants you to know he's not sick. He's just hungover. Locker, good morning. How are you?
Good. Ape number 2. You can also call me Ape number 2.
Ape number 2. Nice to see you. I love the shirt. Is that from the Cruise FM morning show collection?
Yes. Yeah. Manny helped me put this together.
Manny Brar?
So, yeah, we got a page and we sell merch. I don't know if we're selling many, but this one's a popular one.
I'm not sick. I'm just hungover in Star Wars font. I like it. Thanks for doing this. You're in Edmonton. Darrin is in LA. Kareem is in Toronto. I'm in Toronto. And we've got lots of stuff to cover today. Because Locker, are you frozen? Are you there still? We got you? Did he freeze?
He's frozen.
Did he freeze?
He's got some internet issues.
Did he freeze? He's got some internet issues. He'll come back. Let's go over to Caryma. Caryma, because we'll get to Alberta in a second. But I wanted to ask you onto the program today because you and I had a little exchange. I wrote a piece on this guy, Adam Skelly. Is anybody not paying attention to this lunatic from around the world? It's this poorly educated meatball that has like a couple of barbecue shops in the city of Toronto. They're mostly takeout. He defied the lockdown, wanted to serve people in his actual barbecue joint. He was told he couldn't. He was fined and shut down 3 times, finally arrested for a multitude of things. And now he has become, Caryma, and this is the dangerous part. He's become a martyr. And people really haven't thought this one through, have they? Because he's a martyr for about 10 different groups: anti-hoaxers, anti-vaxxers, Canadian freedom fighters, conspiracy theories, fucking lunatics, small business people that want to be able to operate but can't, even though they don't believe in the pandemic. So there's a lot of different things feeding into this. And I wanted to get your opinion on it because to me, it's one big fucking grift. It's one big take. The guy now has well over $300,000 donated to him from a GoFundMe campaign that is specifically in the fine print. Specifically, all the money goes to him, all of it, at his discretion to be able to do whatever the fuck he wants, minus 2.3%. And he's bragging about it now online. So I wanted to get your perspective on what you see here, and then we'll kind of shoot the shit with the rest of the fellas.
I mean, I think, yeah, you hit it on the head. I think this is a big grift. I think it's a mistake to assume that he's stupid. He might be doing stupid things, but this was a very strategic, I think, approach, and one that, like, he's tapped into what's an emotional issue for a lot of people, a lot of different groups, and is presenting himself as this sort of folk hero, when in fact I don't think that he's genuine in his objectives. And I mean, I would like $300,000. I think I do better stuff than him, but what do I know?
but legally, like, where is he at with? Because he's been able to fucking weaponize, as a lot of people have, when they start these fucking rallies and they get people downtown and they start these super spreader events, which, by the way, I'm all for. I'm a big fan of the super spreader events, specifically all the same people that continue to go to the same super spreader events. But where are we at with the legal part of this? Like, why legally have we not seen more arrests? Why did they let this fucking thing go this long? Because it seems like the con has been perpetuated a little bit by the lack of inaction, and then coming back around to try and wrap their legal arms around this. But what legal recourse is there for authorities and the police to be able to stop people like this from doing shit like this and exciting issues like this?
I mean, I think that so public health and Toronto police, they've already used the tools that are at their disposal. So they've issued fines, they arrested him, and in fact, he wasn't even released without a bail hearing. He was held overnight, presumably because he refused to sign the conditions they put before him. So he's been released on a $50,000 bail. He's not supposed to be on social media. So I think that, you know, the authorities have deployed what's in their toolkit. But really this reveals that as far as implementing public health policy and legislation, you know, the stick of criminal law is maybe not the best approach in the pandemic. And initially the response, and you know, it I think came across as a soft response. We've spoken to him. He's going to be open for the rest of the day, but he's going to be closing. And the continued defiance, I think the authorities felt backed into a corner and felt that they maybe had to lay down the law a little bit thicker. That's my read on the situation. I do suspect, though, that the way that he is deliberately provocative. I think that his intent and his goal from the get-go was to martyr himself and to have that enforcement come down on him so that he can turn around and be the hero. And the fact that it took so long for that enforcement, you know, there are a lot of discrepancies in the way that laws are applied and who is expected to comply and who gets sort of humanized and treated with a little bit more empathy.
Yeah, and you see it all the time now. Is the two schools? Darrin's in the States, so he sees it all the time in the United States. But specifically, you know, Donald Trump, who's weaponized the fact that you know, or weaponized, you know, the ability to be able to take something like this and lie to a group of people, and then use that lie to perpetuate the job that you want done. Right? That's called being a fucking fraud, if I'm not mistaken. And I look into this, and I don't know about you, Caryma. I looked into Adam Skelly. I looked into his history. He comes from a well-to-do family. His dad's upper middle class, Leaside. He actually gave him that location in Leaside that he's operating out of. He actually helped him start this business. He's never struggled for a minute. He has always been that kind of person, a bit of a troublemaker. His friends that I've talked to over the past couple of days said, and this is really what it comes down to. My understanding of why he's doing this is because he wants to endear. This is how fucked he is. So he's put a whole bunch of people in danger. He's exposed a whole bunch of people to COVID unnecessarily. He's taken a shit on precautions, regulations, and all the lockdown measures for the simple fact that he wants to put his barbecue up against Texas barbecue. Did you guys know that?
Is that another barbecue joint in Toronto?
No. He wants his little barbecue joint to be revered by people in Texas who have world-class barbecue places. So he's perpetuating this. He's never written a thing about Donald Trump in the past. He's tweeting about how great Donald Trump is, how great Texas is, how great his barbecue. Right now he's doing it, and he's not fucking allowed to. He's never once tweeted about small business. He's never once talked about that. The only thing he's done this entire time is put people in harm's way so that he can take his barbecue south of the border.
Is it good
are you
barbecue?
really a small business though if you have 3 locations? And the way that he's operating, like he's making it harder for small businesses. So they're his competition, and he's operating while they are choosing to comply. And so he's making it the money that other restaurants could be making right now.
And doesn't care. Locker, what was your question? Sorry.
I was going to ask if it is actually decent barbecue.
Apparently it is. That's the problem. Like,
okay.
It would be great to sewer the guy if the food was shit, but every single comment and every tweet I've gotten back from people is like, hey, this guy's a complete grifter and a total asshole and a massive piece of shit, but goddamn, the barbecue is terrific.
Can I add this? Like,
yes.
I take this Adam guy out of the equation. Oh my God, I feel so bad for all of these small businesses. And that was my first thought when I saw that. It was like, is he doing the right thing? Is he just making it worse for everybody? Or is he just trying to make a living? I mean, you've done a little bit more research than I have on it. But that was my first thought. And I think that's why he has a GoFundMe with 300,000, because people are like, look at this, what this is doing to the people that have small businesses right now. Right.
And we can all identify with that, right? It's like the QAnon guys. Like everybody wants. Nobody. It doesn't matter if you're part of the group, part of QAnon, or not part of QAnon. If someone said to me, "Hey, do you want to be a part of an organization that saves kids from pedophile rings?" I would be like, "Of course, who doesn't?" Right? Like it's the same thing with this guy. Hey, do you want to support small businesses struggling right now? Of course, who doesn't? It's a common sense thing. Everybody feels bad for people that are struggling right now, but everybody's struggling. That's what this fucking guy doesn't seem to understand. And what shakes my tree a little bit is you think about what he's doing, which is really a PR stunt gone way fucking too wrong, Caryma. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think he started down this path of doing a stunt for some really cool pulled pork sandwiches for people standing in line. And I think it got away from him, and now he's turned into this fucking anti-hero. And that's what we've sort of all had to deal with for the past few years, have we not? And specifically in this pandemic, is the creation of these fucking really dangerous anti-heroes where people like you and me and you and everybody else have kids that aren't going to school, or if they are, they're in harm's way, and you're worried about that. You got families you can't feed. There's a 10-year-old boy in Manitoba that died from COVID-19 yesterday. 10-year-old boy that died. This guy's fundraising off it like it's a joke. That's the problem that I have. Like everybody understands small business needs a leg up, but how the fuck can, in your right mind, knowing 12,000 Canadians have died from this, millions of people around the world have died from it, a 10-year-old boy just outside of Steinbach lost his life yesterday, and this guy's using it to sell fucking ribs.
Yeah,
and steal money from people in a GoFundMe campaign.
That picture you drew before we went live sums it up, though. There's a bunch of people that don't believe it. Dean, they don't believe that it's even real. They think that all the numbers are fake, and I don't get it. It makes no sense.
You're in Alberta, Locke, and Alberta is on a fucking tear right now. You guys are numero uno in Canada with a bullet when it comes to infections. Is it the same attitude? The same attitude of this guy? Is that the Western attitude? Is that a prevailing attitude out there? Like, fuck it, nothing's going to hurt us. It's a joke. Is it hyper religion? Is it stupidity? What is it?
I think there's a large number of people that believe it. I think the majority of people understand what this is, that are aware of, the fact that they need to do their part. Unfortunately, the extremists are the ones that get the attention. So it might seem like there is a a larger number of them. I'll tell you a quick story. So I hang out with a guy, we affectionately refer to him as Army Chris. Army Chris is a heavy drinker, and he's not a dumb guy, but the COVID rules came out this week, and we were talking about it because he's posting on his social media and everything. We're talking about it at work going, dude, the guy's had 2 people over every day this week. So we start teasing him that the rules don't apply to him. And he goes, I'm living up by the rules. And we're like, oh, you thought the rules meant you could have 2 people over every night. So instead of just 2 people, that if you live by yourself, no. He had a fucking party every night with 2 people.
And you said he wasn't a dumb guy.
No, he's not. Like, if you met him, he's not the dumbest guy in the world. He just doesn't pay attention.
Yeah.
So, right? So
but I find it hard to believe that an entire province could have such a fucking easy go of it that they give you the Stanley Cup playoffs and the Stanley Cup finals because you're the model of consistency. And then from that to you guys are destroying Ontario and Quebec with your numbers per capita. It's not even fucking close. It's like you guys are the runaway champions. The city of champions reigns again. And
yeah.
Did everybody just assume it was over in Edmonton, or was no one paying attention to fucking begin with?
I think people got comfortable because the tracking, the tracing that they're doing right now, it's all going back to house parties and gatherings, right? And I'm not blaming the authorities for the rules and the restrictions and everything but I don't know because they're going to make mistakes. There was no playbook. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to be patient with what I'm seeing and the discrepancies and how they're handling everything. And not everybody is, but I think what ended up happening was they made some critical errors. And like, if you tell a bar to shut down at 10 o'clock, everyone's just going to get drunk between 9 and 10. And then they're going to go to a friend's place and continue drinking. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, they're thinking that people are going to follow these rules. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if you make the rules harsher or what. But
Look, I got a question for you, actually.
Yeah.
It's about the province of Alberta just in and of itself. Is a high school education a lofty goal there?
I think if we boiled it down, I was saying to Dean, if we boiled it down and compared the average intelligence of Alberta as a whole to other provinces, I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be a front runner.
Like if we had a game show, Family Feud, province to province, Alberta wouldn't make it out of the fucking first round. Neither would Saskatchewan, by the way. I've lived in both provinces. It's like it's like you go there if you can't find work in any of the other 8 or 9 provinces and territories.
It's amazing how geographically Canada and America are the same. We got the coasts. Yeah. And you got the middle.
Super woke coasts.
New York and LA, Seattle, Philadelphia are really smart people over there. Yeah. And everything in the middle, like Missouri and Iowa and Nebraska.
Just
Wyoming,
full of rejects.
Arkansas, just fucking morons. Like,
hey, listen. My show is successful here.
What's that? Caryma?
Even if we are sort of making that kind of sweeping generalization, to be fair, messaging from both the federal and provincial government has been really inconsistent. So it's not a surprise that people don't understand what is or isn't allowed because the rules keep changing and they don't make sense. Yeah,
and to be honest with you too, your premier, Jason Kenney, he's been missing in action for about 4 to 5 months now. He might be a POW. We don't know.
Well, Kenny's a weird duck because I think the right wing thought they got somebody and he's not that guy. Like I think he tries hard to be that guy, but he is definitely not that guy. And not that we need to get into any specifics, but I mean, he lives in his mom's basement. I think he's had a couple of COVID scares. I think he is more concerned about this than people might think he is, right? But he's also trying, and again, back to I'm not exactly sure what the answer is here. Like, do you shut everybody up again and start, boarding up people's homes so that they can't leave? I think everyone's trying to have a balance here now with how they restrict everybody. And I'm not sure that that's the answer either. So I think what Kenny's doing right now is he's trying to deal with the unintended consequences that we learned about after the first couple of months of the pandemic. And that's not me defending him, because I also think that maybe obviously we haven't gone far enough, right?
Yeah.
Well, look what's going on in other countries. Look, Canada and the U.S. are kind of similar.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Don't know. They're Caryma.
Yes, they are.
Caryma, you and me standing shoulder to shoulder here with this American meatball. Listen to me right now, and don't you ever say that again.
Listen to me now,
infection.
hear me later.
You live in a fucking third world country compared to Canada. You should drive through the goddamn suburbs of Detroit, Michigan, through Royal Oak and all those beautiful areas, just the outskirts. And then I want you to drive through the outskirts of Keswick, and I want you to tell me how many dead bodies you see on front lawns here in Canada. The answer is 0. And on top of it, let me just put this in your pipe so you can smoke it a little bit later. Your infection rate is roughly 120 times that of Canada per capita. So,
okay, now that you're done sucking little micro wieners, let me finish my point.
Well, I can't let you make a point when you're fucking lying. That's my point.
I got maybe a fifth through my sentence.
Well, yeah, because I'm not going to let people do misinformation on this site anymore. I'm fucking tired of it.
It's my opinion.
No, listen. You know what happened last week? Some guy's like, he put this on my comment section, and like I see all the comments, and we get so many of them that I don't fucking really look at many of them. And I looked at this one guy because the first sentence was, "The flu kills more people than COVID," and I'm like, you fucking tool. Who are you?
If you allow me to finish my sentence.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Canada and America are similar in some ways in this particular pandemic, because in America you have idiots that aren't listening to what they're told to do.
Bingo.
And the same is in Canada. That was my original sentence before
Agreed.
you voted on me.
Agreed. We agreed already.
Shit my pipe so I can smoke it. I'm a meatball. But at any rate, so America's got some problems with idiocy and people not following the rules and freedom and anti-vaxxers, blah, blah, blah. The same can be said for Canada to a lesser degree. Mm-hmm. We don't have this problem, or I'm sorry, countries like New Zealand don't have this problem. South Korea doesn't have that problem. There are civilizations in the world that are saying our country is getting hit with a pandemic. Our government's telling us to do A, B, and C. We're going to do A, B, and C. Mm-hmm. And there's probably a few resistors, but they're in the vast minority. That doesn't happen in America. That doesn't happen in Canada, where people are like, I'm free. I'm going to go get barbecue. I'm going to go to a rally in Calgary for Trump. I'm going to go here and do this. Mm-hmm. And so that's the problem, is the collective intelligence.
Yeah,
we've lost faith in our public officials.
No shit. We have for a long time. Has anybody, and I'll ask you guys this, have any of you watched anything over the past few years, you specifically, Darrin, Caryma, Locker, local politics? We're all, between the ages of 30 and 50-ish. Has anybody ever seriously, because now I'm at the point where I'm like, I should probably just run for office. That's probably the easiest thing to do at this point. I should probably just be I should probably just be the next prime minister. Caryma, you could listen. You could run for office right now. I'd vote for you. I would vote for you right now, because I had a conversation.
I'll hold you to it. That's good. Good
I would.
To know.
But like, that's literally, this is when people like AOC are born, right? And say what you will about her politics, and you can hate how socially aware she is and how she's, wants to make the world a better place and all that terrible things she stands for. But that's where this shit's born from, right? That's where people like that, they're born for moments like this and moments in time. And I wanted to tell you guys, and I don't know if I wanted to, I didn't want to admit that I figured this whole thing out, but I did figure it out over the past couple of days. And I drew a picture, which will really easy for everybody to understand. But this is what's happened to the world. This is really simple. I want you guys to look at this, okay? This is really, really simple. This is why the world is fucked up. And I want you to remember this picture, every single one of you, when you look at this. And then I just want you to go like this tonight when you're frustrated and you're like, why is the world fucked? It's not that fucked. I'll explain it with 3 circles. It's really simple. What we have here is the entire problem. In the middle, we have all of us. Common sense. Some of us lean left, some of us lean right, but all of us fair-minded critical thinkers. Over here, we've got the extremists on the right, and over here, we've got the extremists on the left. These two little circles are causing all the people in the middle all these big issues today. Misinformation, hoaxes, lies, religion, all the shit that gets in the way of the truth and facts. And the reason why is this little circle here are mentally ill circles. These are just mentally ill people that kind of feed into the center part of all the rest of us that have some common sense that just want to fucking make life work.
Well, Dean, the circle on the left is a little bit more mentally ill than the circle on the right, because the circle on the left is more of a C than the circle on the right, which is actually a circle.
Yeah, the mentally ill, they don't know how to write properly.
Yeah, right.
They don't do good
all
circles.
Kidding aside, though,
It's like spelling coup.
Yes, Locker?
Coup.
All kidding aside, I like the fact that you are aware that both sides are causing the issues, right?
Right.
And I'll add to the whole thing by also saying, I think also part of the problem in the world that we live in is you got too many people that are trying to be an expert in things. And you also have lost the ability to be honest and not necessarily have to, like, you can't step up anymore and say, hey, listen, we don't know how this thing's going to play out. And we could lock everybody up, but that's going to cause problems. Right. We could let everyone go crazy and hope that it'll work itself out. And that's going to have its own issues. You can't just say, like, these officials can't step up and go, we don't understand how this thing works. We don't know why it makes one person sick, doesn't have any impact on anybody else, and then fucking kills the other guy. Mm-hmm. We don't understand yet. We're still learning, because no one's allowed to say they don't know what the answer is. Mm-hmm. And instead, they attempt to try to be the authority, and that comes with its own problems. There's a lack of honesty now. Mm-hmm. I mean,
and fact-based honesty too. And Caryma, as a lawyer, how many times have people tried to explain to you how this thing works legally, how people's rights work legally? How frustrated do you get when you see people that Lochlin's talking about start popping off about here's legal right? This guy's fighting for your legal rights, or it is my legal right to not wear it. Where does that sit with you when you see misinformation like that? And how do you fucking correct it?
A little bit of knowledge can be a very dangerous thing, right? So someone,
especially for idiots,
you might have a statute that you've identified a correct statute, or that's our Constitution, and sure, that's a component of the Constitution. But how does it work in conjunction with everything else? And I mean, even the Constitution is subject to limits, right? So I think that when someone doesn't have the full picture, and then they have maybe a misplaced sense of confidence, and I've read it, so I know, and I've seen it, and it's sort of in my bubble, in my circle, and I'm confident because I'm hearing the same information from others. And you get into an echo chamber, right? And so
but do you get into those conversations with someone where you clearly know that you're right, and you've got technical fact-based information from fucking a law book or Johns Hopkins University, and some moron's going off and he's blue in the face? Do you ever just go, stop talking right now, you stupid idiot?
I don't argue unless someone's paying me, is how I deal with that. So I will, if you're paying me to argue, by all means, for hours we can go. I will take your side, the other side, doesn't matter.
What does it cost to argue with you for an hour, Caryma? A few $100.
The Dean Friends and Family discount, $300.
Oh, that's
we'll call it a day.
Can I hire you? Can I hire you right now on this podcast? Can I hire you to sue Dean for calling me a meatball?
It's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I can set you up with someone good.
Maybe you can give me a referral.
But that is what I've fucking really focused on, Darrin, Caryma. That's what I've focused on. And I don't know about you, but in my travels and my conversations with people, I've had to really focus. Before, I would have a skimmed knowledge of a topic that I'm discussing, and I would go to the mat discussing it with people, even though I didn't have the proper information. Like, I was one of those guys. I'm like, there is no way Diego Maradona kicked that ball into the fucking net with his hand. There is no way. And I'm like, we're watching it. I'm like, no, I still don't see it. Like, I was that guy. And now those people make me sick to my fucking stomach because of COVID, because of Trump and all that other stuff. So now I'm like, I won't even get into a conversation with somebody. Like, I'll leave, go to the bathroom. I was at a dinner function the other day, socially distanced dinner function, with a few people, and they got into whether the flu, again, I come back to this, the flu has killed as many people or more people than COVID-19. I literally went into the bathroom, didn't pee, looked up a source from Johns Hopkins University and Stanford Medical Information and the Journal of American Medicine, and I printed them off on their home computer, and I put them, and I said, can I get a highlighter, please? They said, sure. And I fucking put a highlighter on, and I took magnets where their kids' shit was, and I put them on the fucking on the fridge. And I said, I'm not having this conversation with anybody here tonight. Go ahead and read these sources from fact-based sources, and then you invite me over for dinner another time. And the invites never came.
The exact thing to me when we had lunch and dinner in Toronto. When the bill came, you go to the bathroom.
Yeah, never come back.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you'd be there for hours.
That's what I used to do when I would get. That's what I would do when I get really like way too wasted to be at a party. I would be like, I'm gonna go out for smokes, and I would never come back because I was too wasted. I had the spins. But that's how I feel about fucking people. I'll correct anybody with real information anytime.
To your topic, Dean, in all seriousness, circling back around, no pun intended, circling back around, I think it comes, and I'd love to get your guys' opinion. This comes back to intelligence. A lot of people in the interwebs, the inner world, the worldwide interweb, like to get their opinion from someplace, and then they don't want to think like you think, Dean. You go in, you dive down the rabbit hole, you absorb information, factual information.
Not information that I want to be correct either. That's the thing, right?
You just want to be armed with facts,
right?
And I think that's a smart thing for a human being to do. So a lot of people, though, they read that Joe Biden is suffering from dementia, and then they stick that into their brain, and that's it. Joe Biden suffers from dementia. I don't want to hear anything else. He's a pedophile. Okay, that's it. I made up my mind. Joe Biden's a pedophile. I've seen people argue on the interwebs
based on one line from a tweet.
Just like they're just not smart enough or don't have the willpower to dive in and get the facts. Yeah. Yes, of course Joe Biden's not a fucking pedophile. And the fact that you argue this online makes you look so stupid because you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that those people they will go to the guillotine.
Yeah.
Repeating these things like to the very end. They'll be trotted out in front of these people, and they'll go, no, Joe Biden is a pedophile, and wearing a mask does not protect you. And they're like, stick your head in the thing. He's like, all right, boom.
Tucker Carlson told me he's a pedophile.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson!
Hannity said it was. Caryma Saad, I heard her say it was,
and then Rush Limbaugh confirmed it.
Yeah, but they'll literally die for that. Sorry, go ahead.
What's really scary, though, is that these people are our dentists or our landlords or those are the top things that came to my mind.
Your prostate surgeon.
Those particular demographics. But, even on my own Facebook, people who I thought I knew are having all sorts of views that I'm like quite surprised.
Oh, shocking. I'm shocked daily. By who believes what. It's and I'm not sure it's as easy as just boiling it down. Sorry to interrupt. I'm not sure it's as easy as boiling it down to intelligence, right? Because I think there is an element of people want to shock you, right? And they get up in the morning every day and they like that kind of interaction. I know that a lot of people that listen to my show were always trying to get me going on Trump. Mm-hmm. So it was like a daily sort of little battle. Can I get Locke to lose his shit on the air over something that I texted in or tweeted him the night before? So it's a bit of a game. So there's an element of that, but I'll second that. I keep running into people that have belief structures revolving around things that I know that are just not true. And it just blows my mind who they are. And, do
you lose respect, Caryma? You brought that up. Do you lose respect for some of those friends and family members?
I think it makes me sad more than anything. And, there's room, I guess, for patience and dialogue, and to your point of here's the correct source and here's why I think this is, you know, something you should consider, and here's the right information. But when it becomes sort of a battle of who's right and wrong, people entrench themselves in their positions, and
Yeah,
they
but do you
don't
remember
want to hear.
how old are you, Caryma?
31.
31. So you're a little younger than us. Not much, but I remember back and do you remember when Obama, he gave a speech about a year ago, and he's like, usually when people got caught, like back when I was a president, if we got caught doing something, got caught lying, you're like, you're right, we got caught, we lied, you caught us, right? It's like, for whatever reason, you catch people in a lie, and they're like, again, they will go to the electric chair maintaining it isn't. Like, in the face of absolute truth, they'll continue to lie. They'll continue to perpetuate the rumors. They'll continue to, because, and what it's boiled down to, again, the work that I put into this little picture, the same work that I put into the psychology behind these people. And the reason why is all of these little circles on the outside are practicing a little something called cognitive dissonance. You guys aware of what cognitive dissonance is? It's like this extreme need to believe anything that remotely bolsters your original narrative. So, like, completely not even fucking paying attention to science because they were brought up in a religious home, or they were brought up with no views of science, or maybe they weren't brought up at all. And to Darrin's point and to Locke's point, it's an intellectual thing. Extremists on either side, and it's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, if you look at the Journal of American Medicine study on extremism as it relates to mental illness or mental maladies, every single extremist was driven into that because they had some type of pre-existing mental condition, whether it be bipolar disorder, they're schizophrenic, they had depression, anxiety, untreated. All of those things went into making those two ends of that spectrum. So there are so many different things that go into why these people continue to lie. But the bottom line is they found a group of common idiots that they feel really comfortable with, and no one's going to break up that gang. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, mentally, like, they got nothing in real life, so they found it online, and they've been loners their whole life. So all of a sudden they see guys like Adam Skelly from Skelly Barbecue or whatever the fuck it's called, and they're like, oh my God, there's hundreds of people that are like me, that believe what I believe, because I never leave my parents' house and just spend hours on end in YouTube rabbit holes. So that's what I believe. And that is why we have what we have by and large.
And that's why, you know, Trump's election fraud is sticking with some people, because he's hammering it home every day, hammering it. And in his little speech he had with
fucking
his little
awesome
desk, that was so cute, his little desk.
Yeah, his little tiny desk.
It's so funny.
What the hell was that?
It was, I don't know what it was, but here's my point. He was hammering the fraud all day long. Fraud, it's a scam, it's a sham, fraud.
Yeah.
So people are like, it's like Tide. When you go to the store and you want detergent, you're going to probably think, I need Tide, because you've been hit over the head with Tide commercials for X amount of years and months. Same with Trump. Trump's going to lie over and over again so the people go, okay, I guess there might have been some fraud. Now, nothing's going to become of it, because you got to have this little thing called fact, you know, in court or anywhere. You just got to, but enough people hearing him say fraud, and again, circling back to intelligence, are going to go, yep, there probably was some fraud. Fucking Biden.
So we have a common argument on our show all the time, because I'm on the show with a millennial, Grant, and he's quite a smart kid. And we disagree on censorship, because I have said countless times that that I don't think they should censor these people. Like, I don't think, and it's not about whether or not who's in charge of it. It's whether or not you're convincing them that that they're wrong. And the reason why I'm against it is because of that. I have constant fights about politics and the pandemic on my social media with listeners and other people that follow me. And you are not convincing them of what they believe. You are not going to change their mind. It is, you might as well beat your head against the wall. So if you go and if you go block one of their stories, and I've had people say this to me, block a fake story on Facebook, they are going to just think now there's a bigger conspiracy. See, they're trying to hide the truth. And Grant and I go back and forth all the time. He's going, it's not them you're trying to protect. It's the other people that they might be influencing. And I just think we're making it worse by creating these. And maybe we got a lawyer on board here, but I mean, I don't know. I think we're making it worse by the censorship. And I mean, I'm in the middle. I agree with some right wing and some left wing things, but these people, man, they believe what they believe in. You are not convincing them otherwise, no matter what you present them.
They should go to the COVID rallies and interact with each other and sneeze on each other and cough on each other,
hug each other, hugs, like greeting hugs.
Good luck with that.
There's a group in Toronto. I don't know if there is out west. It's called Hugs Over Masks. Have you seen this group, Caryma? Have you seen these hugs?
Yeah, I encounter them every Saturday because they parade outside the office.
Have they tried to hug you?
I've not accepted any hugs.
You haven't, huh? What would you do if one of them just tried to hug you?
I mean,
you'd probably have to represent yourself.
You wouldn't let them get that close to you in the first place. If you saw them coming like this.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna take a detour or walk away. But
that's Frankenstein. Give me a hug.
Give me a hug.
I don't know that I would
Caryma.
react well to that. I don't think I would.
No, I wouldn't. I got a personal space thing when we don't have a fucking pandemic too.
That's right.
So yeah, don't rush me and hug me. But those are Locker's talking about one thing where he's talking about the freedom of speech, and he's also talking about the freedom of hate speech, Caryma. And I think legally, isn't that the dangerous part of what we're seeing from both sides, right? Isn't that why Adam Skelly was managed to, steal 300 grand from people and, gather a few thousand people downtown? Isn't it it's the freedom of speech is one thing, but it's the danger that comes from that freedom of speech. And it's not about crowd control, right? People are allowed to protest. But the real fucking really interesting wrinkle is that we've never had a time like this when people's rights have been impinged by a fucking global pandemic. That's the part that it seems to be that escapes some of the idiots and the morons is, yes, you do have rights. Normally we would stand up for those rights and your ability to protest, but not right now, dummy.
But what are we asking people? I mean, to be fair, if I go into a store with no pants on, they're not going to fucking serve me. So there's a rule, right?
That happened before. That's happened before. That happened before.
It has happened. I've been asked not to come
in. I'm all
in.
for it, Lock. No pants.
Most liquor stores will not let me in without pants on.
Yeah.
And so what's the fucking difference of them enforcing a mask? I can't understand why people are the mask is so much I'm more upset about pants.
Me too. Yeah, it infuriates me that I can't go into a liquor store with no pants.
I mean, to that point, a lot of the, I guess, freedom fighters, they're wrapping themselves up in language of oppression. We are so oppressed, we are downtrodden, our rights are being trampled, and it's sort of a fiction. It's imaginary to a large extent, and yes, I think that we should all be very cautious and vigilant about government overreach. And I don't put it above any of our provincial or federal governments to use the pandemic as an opportunity to try and claw back or claw some more powers. And that is very hard to undo. So it's not crazy to be upset about what's happening, but I think we do need to put it in perspective. And it's always a balancing act, right? You have a right, you have competing obligations, other people have rights as well. And in our very individualistic society, I don't know that is always processed properly.
Where do his legal rights, where do freedom fighters or anti-maskers legal rights stop and start according to observant citizens' legal rights?
So the rights, okay, let's talk about, I guess, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, right? I think that those are probably the most pertinent ones. So those are charter rights, and those are subject to reasonable restrictions by the government. And if someone disagrees with the law, then the process is to challenge that, and then the government has to explain why their restrictions were either reasonable or not. And
would the plague be
were
considered a reasonable restriction?
Would what, sorry?
The plague, would the fucking plague be considered a
I
reasonable
think that that's
restriction?
an extenuating
An airborne plague?
Now, like where the government might actually have a problem is in sort of coming up with its restrictions and who is subject and who is exempt, and how are we determining what the rules are. They may struggle to show that certain things were minimally impairing, because that's a part of the test, right? Are you taking like the broadest possible rule, or are you trying to minimally impair? So I don't know that all of the lockdown rules will actually be upheld if they do get challenged. But obviously there are very serious public health concerns, and you know, the deaths are real. We know that the deaths are targeting poorer demographics, marginalized people, certain neighborhoods. So the people who are most upset and most vocal about this, ironically, aren't the ones who are being most sort of directly affected by COVID.
Mm-hmm. And that's how you know that this Adam Skelly guy is full of fucking shit. Like pulling up in his Escalade, getting out of the car with his $5,000 moose knuckle jacket, you know, putting out tweets about his barbecue stacking up against Texas barbecue while thousands of people are dying every day, right? So
I have a big problem with him taking on Texas barbecue, by the way.
Yeah, I do too. I do too, because I've been to Kansas City, and that's killed every barbecue anywhere I've ever had.
Kansas City, Stubbs,
Kansas,
and Austin.
Yeah. But getting back to what those rights and freedoms are, what I'm standing in the middle of the street next to an anti-masker. That anti-masker, and we have nowhere to go. We have to stay there. He won't put on his mask. The cops won't make him put on his mask. He won't, and he's standing next to me. And now he's following me. Now he's being a pain in the ass. Now he's telling me that this is a hoax, and he's screaming boo as I walk down the street. If I turn around and punch him right in his suck hole, do I go to jail? Yes or no?
Probably.
I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
He's assaulting me. He's trying to kill me with his breath. He's trying to kill me with his bacteria.
Okay, what if I fucking
just
taser him?
Yeah, I mean, obviously self-defense has its limits, right? And sort of proportionality comes into play. So
yeah, but like if some guy coughs on me on purpose, like there was a scene actually, it happened in Toronto where a woman coughed. Did you see this video? A woman coughed on a guy. Guy got up and literally pushed the woman right off the bus, and she went flying about 15 feet onto the ground, and he didn't get charged.
I think a deliberate cough could be construed as an assault, especially
now.
You sort of spit, right?
In these times, that's absolutely assault.
So wait a second. You're telling me if someone deliberately coughs on me, I get to give them one right in the face?
That is not my legal advice.
No, taser him. Taser him.
But based on precedent, Dean, you'll probably get off.
Okay.
In the nuts.
Where's the taser in the testicles? Is that illegal? Is that bad?
Why are the testicles exposed?
Well, they're not, but they'll go in there. They got the little sharp pinchers,
they're
right?
Anti-masker or anti-panters, you know.
Yeah,
anti-panters. Dozens, guys. There are dozens, hundreds of videos of these anti-maskers in America throwing fits at the front door of any establishment. It could be a restaurant, it could be a store, whatever the case may be. And they're losing their minds.
Did you see the video? Did you see the video we put up of this guy?
Rage.
This guy in Dawson Creek, BC. Did you see that video?
Oh, that
grabs
awful.
So we put up this video yesterday. This anti-masker, 30 years old, walks into a Walmart greeter, 71. He's like, "Sir, can you kindly put on a mask?" Guy's like, "No." Jumps on him, straddles him, and just starts punching him in the face over and over and over again. God. So a guy like that, if Locke and I walk, hang on just a sec though. If Locke and I, Caryma walked into that Walmart and we saw that, and then we grab that guy and we start beating the shit out of him, would we get charged?
Would that fall under Good Samaritan?
Cops come in. I mean, you could get charged. Would you ultimately be found guilty? Not necessarily. But
good.
I mean, but
I'm
you're
looking
white,
to.
so you're probably not going to get charged. So I don't know.
It sounds like you just want to punch someone, Dean.
Yeah, I'm looking for ways. I'm trying to get Caryma to give me legal advice here on who I can
She's
punch.
not going to give you the green light. You're going to try a bunch of different angles, and she's going to keep deflecting them.
Sorry, Locke. What were you going to say? I interrupted you.
She knows what libel is.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's the other thing about that video. I mean, everyone just assumes it was an older gentleman because it was a Walmart greeter. It was a handicapped adult. And I saw that video and it ruined my week. It's just the worst. And the worst part about it is that guy is going to go, from what we've heard, he's going to go to court. He's got charged on mischief or something. He's got a couple of charges. He'll end up getting probation and pay a fine. And I think he should be, all kidding aside, I think he should be spending a couple of years in jail for what he did. It was so awful.
Yeah, because it wasn't a wrestle. It wasn't a wrestle.
I feel really bad for people that are managers of these establishments, any establishment,
Yeah.
restaurant, bar, Walmart, you name it. Their job is shitty. They're managing a Walmart, they or managing a bar or a restaurant. They're not probably particularly stoked about it. And then these people come in and go crazy, and they have to be the bad guy or bad girl and go up to them and go, "Hey, you can't come in. I'm really sorry. It's our
While
policy."
they're wearing a mask and uncomfortable and know that you're going to be pissed off at the door, and they'll have to deal with you like that for 8 hours.
Yeah.
This
My
weekend,
daughter works at Earl's, and she's a floor manager. Once in a while, they'll throw her on the floor to manage instead of serve. And she had to break up a fight. I think it was last weekend. Two tables. One table went to the bathroom. One of the guys went to the bathroom without using the mask. And then somebody came back, and at the table next to them, when he was coming back, said, "Hey, you're supposed to put a mask on." And then it was like, "Don't talk to my boy like that." So here's my 23-year-old daughter in between all of these juice monkeys, and they're ready to fight. And I'm like, Jesus.
Over a mask.
Over a mask.
You know what I was thinking about earlier, guys? I was walking my dogs this morning, and I was thinking about how the pandemic of 1918. Yes, there were less people. Yes, there was no internet.
You remember it well, eh, Darrin?
I was there, yeah. But there have been stories about the pandemic of 1918 and how people wore masks and there were signs, but everyone generally got it, understood how serious it was, and wore masks. And it's kind of, as time's gone on, I think politically, it's like we've come into this era of Trump versus sanity. And it really is Trump's fault. He has divided not just the country, but the world in some respects in a really bad political way. Mm-hmm. And it didn't happen during Reagan or Clinton or Bush. It was like, oh, you voted for a Democrat. Okay, cool. You voted for a Republican. Whatever, no big deal. Your views are different than mine. Let's go get a beer and and watch some sports. But now it's like, you voted for Trump. You're a fucking racist. You're a lunatic. You're this. You're that. Oh, you're a Democrat. You're a snowflake. You're a lollipop. You're this. You're that. Now it's gotten to the point where it's like hatred. If you vote for this guy, you're hated. You voted for that guy, you're hated. If you're this, you're hated. If you're an anti-vaxxer, you're hated. It's just so much division, and it's gotten worse over the years. It wasn't like that when we were growing up, and here we are in 2021, and it's just brutal. It's out of hand.
It's because Alex Jones wasn't around in 1918. That's why. That's because the internet didn't exist in 1918 during any of those waves.
The video of that guy at the bar. He went to a bar and people were getting in his face, and he almost fought one of them.
Yeah, Alex Jones. Yeah.
What a lunatic!
But those are, it's Adam Skelly, Alex Jones, my neighbor, my sister, her husband,
my brother,
your brother. And I don't know if anybody here is uber religious. I find it's religion that's really fucking with people now too, right? Where the other day, how the ruling it might have interested you, Caryma. The Supreme Court said, the government can't force people in church to wear a mask or not go to church. People are allowed to go to church. And I thought to myself, that's that fucking God again, right? Seriously, it's that goddamn Bible and that fucking God that doesn't exist, and the Quran, which is a joke, and whatever the Torah, which is like, and it's everybody that seems to think that they don't have to wear a mask because God will protect them. That's my favorite part of this whole thing. I have family members because I grew up in a very hyper-religious home that truly do believe that there is a pedophile pizza ring in the States.
Yeah, and that every man and woman on the earth was created by a man and woman named Adam and Eve.
And out of one rib, and a snake ate an apple, and he was the devil, and Noah and the ark. And I don't know, I've never seen mosquitoes in Syria or Turkey, but I imagine there were some then, and they only got the last two. Like, you have to be somewhat stupid, believe in magic, love the Harry Potter series, not want to be based in reality.
Let's not bring Harry Potter into this, please.
Now leave the poor kid alone, Dean.
Anyway. Sorry, I didn't mean to shit on Harry Potter.
I got hours of entertainment out of that. Come on.
Religion's a problem, Dean. It is a problem, and it's people that are weak. Like, I don't believe in God either. I believe in the universe. I believe in creation. I believe in expansion of the universe. I believe in life.
Yeah,
that's my religion. Is spirituality. It's not so much a book that was created 2,000 years ago, or a God that was created 2,000 years ago, or Krishna, or Hindu, or Buddha, or Muhammad.
And you know what? If they are waiting for God or any of those people to save him, what kind of fucking asshole is God? That's the other thing. Like, oh, don't worry, this is what they say. God's got me covered. I'm not getting this COVID. And then when someone in their family dies or they die, the family goes, "It was God's will. No big deal." Yeah, I'm like, you guys got the whole fucking thing figured out. What's that?
There have been pastors in the United States been very vocal about COVID, and they've gotten it and died. And you're right. They're like the petitioners are like, well, that's God's will.
Yeah, that's what they say.
God wants him in heaven.
You know what? And I agree with them. God wants all of you in heaven if you don't believe in science. He really does. And so my goal today was just to give people a little bit of a snapshot into what we see from the outside in, and really happy that Caryma could join us today. Caryma Saad from Sadvocacy, S-A-D.
Like a play on words, yeah.
Sadvocacy, sadvocacy.com. If you need
a
lawyer,
can I get your number? Sometimes I need legal help.
You got it. I got you covered.
He's in Alberta, so I hope you have you pass the bar in Alberta. You're gonna have to do that first. He's a deep shot.
He might be out of luck.
Yeah, but go and see Caryma for anything you need, landlord tenant stuff. She's wonderful, and really appreciate you. Follow her on Twitter as well. What's your Twitter handle? You're a great follow legally.
It's Caryma Rules. So CarymaRules.
Yeah, thank you, Caryma. I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Anytime. We'll talk to you soon, Caryma Saad. And Lochlin Cross, Darrin Pfeiffer, guys, thanks for doing this. Lock, I hope you fucking make it through there. Are you leaving your house tonight, or are you locked in this week? You got enough food and booze for the week?
I have to make a booze run here because I drank all my beer on the weekend.
Yeah.
But
pants or no pants?
I had no pants on for most of the weekend. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I have tightened up my social circles. We were pretty tight already, right? Because I like to tell people I'm antisocial, but actually no one likes me, so it makes it way easier for me. I'm coasting through this COVID thing.
Yeah, I had this fucking thing nailed like in the late '90s. I'm like, I don't need to have a lot of friends. I'm good.
No, we're pretty tight social circles here. I'm trying to stay on the air too because, yeah. We got a show to do every day, right?
Are you going in to do your show every day, or do you do it from home?
We actually go in. They sequestered the rest of the building away from us.
Yeah.
So we've been lucky, man, to have a schedule and and still have some semblance of a routine. Mm-hmm. I am not naive to the fact that we're very blessed in that regard. But people working from home, man, that must be rough.
Yeah, tough to deliver, entertaining stuff in this time too. So congrats, you're still doing a great job. I absolutely love you and Grant. And
I like this Zoom thing you're doing.
Can you explain something? Thanks. Can you explain something to me? You've got a little person on your show named Jimmy, and you ran this auction this weekend where you're trying to raise $957 for like a food bank or something. And if you got to $957, he'd take off some clothes and he would go naked. I don't think he got past the toque.
He hasn't. He's only removed the belt so far, and I think we made a critical error. Okay. Jimmy spends a lot of time naked, and so we've seen it too much. So the idea of putting him in a festive thong and then covering up with a Santa suit, and then telling people to give us money to undress them. Yeah, we made a huge error there.
Yeah, because there's no people have seen it, right? There's no mystery anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's that ship sailed, right? So we're trying to find other ways here to encourage people to donate to the food bank. We try to give back when we can. We have mics, they have power. So, and I always try to focus on the local stuff. All kidding aside, the food bank is, it's under duress right now. So any amount of money we can, we're doing our part.
Where can we find you on Twitter, Loch?
At Lochlin Cross, LOCHLINCROSS.
Lochlin Cross from Cruise 95.7 in Edmonton. Darrin Pfeiffer, of course, from the Dangerous Darrin Show, iDoby Radio, DeanBlundell.com, where we get your fine podcasts as well. At Darrin99 on Twitter. Is it the same on the Instagram, or did you get your whole name on Instagram?
The whole name, Darrin Pfeiffer.
Okay, Darrin Pfeiffer on Instagram. Appreciate it. Be good to each other. No, everybody's fighting some shit, right? No one's got it easy these days. So try and be kind if you can. And if you see someone out there that's not wearing a mask, causing all kinds of problems,
taser them.
Punch him right in the face before you taser him, and then call Caryma.
I do not endorse any of these suggestions.
That's not what I heard.
Right in the old suck hole, right there. But no, appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for doing this, each and every one of you. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
This is fun, guys.
Thanks. Awesome. There you go. Fun till your daddy takes it all away, kids. That's what's going to happen if you don't buckle down. We got ourselves a good old-fashioned pandemic here. It's raging across the country. You knew it. We've been telling you about it. Don't act like you're fucking surprised. Don't you act like you're surprised. You've had doctors with degrees that went to school for like 15 to 30 years each tell you that you don't buck up, you're fucked. Here we are. Congrats. Way to go, everybody. Anyway, thanks to our friends at Owner's Box. Owner's Box Fantasy Sports, the greatest fantasy sports platform on the planet, because it's weekly fantasy sports. You don't go broke doing it. You don't got to wait all year for your payout. Weekly cash payouts as well. And right now, today, last day, go to ownersbox.com. Enter to win yourself a brand new Xbox Series X. They got a bunch of them. And if you go and sign up right now, you can sign up to win that just by signing up to play some serious fantasy football. Week 12 just went by. You got like another, 7 weeks of this stuff. Then you got the playoffs and you got the Super Bowl. You got time to make money. So join Owner's Box Fantasy Sports today. You can do 2-week, 4-week, 16-week, 8-week. You can do it all. You can do it with your friends, fully customizable. It is an incredible app, incredible experience when you're gambling with your friends and you're having a good time and you're doing some fantasy stuff. Changes the entire game, too. You'll never watch it. It's got a brand new ticker on the top so you can follow the scores. Owner's Box Fantasy Sports. Sign up right now for your $500 match deposit as well. They'll just give you some cash bonus, $500 when you put in $500. They'll give you another $500 right now. I think today's the last day too. Today's the last day for everything. So Owner's Box at fantasysports.com. Thanks to Ed's Fine Imports. His Gitch are the best. Buy 3, get 1 free. 4 pairs of Gitch for the price of 3. Use promo code GITCH3 when you check out, and he's going to send you that 4th pair for free. Awesome gift for that man in your house, or those men in your house, or those young men in your house, or people that identify as men or young men. I'm not here to tell you who you are and how you feel in that skin bag of yours. I'm just here to tell you that Ed's got Gitch, and right now he's got 4 pairs for the price of 3 when you use promo code GITCH3 at EdsFineImports.com. Blue microphones, the best. That's what this is. Yeti X. It's got an internal compression unit. Switch the gain. It's got 1 button, but it does 3 things. When you hold the button down, you can flip between your headphones and your gain and your headphone volume, output. Multi-directional, single source. It's incredible. And they're going to give you one of these mics if you win our Show Us Your Pod contest, where right now you enter your podcast to join the DeanBlundell.com network, and you could find yourself on the receiving end of a whole bunch of new Blue podcast equipment, including some microphones, Yeti X, Compass Boom mic arm, and these headphones. They're rad. Just notice I haven't shaved. Anyway, so yeah, thanks to our friends at Blue. Appreciate you. Appreciate all our sponsors. Thanks to everybody for listening. Sign up for a newsletter at DeanBlundell.com. Thanks to Caryma, Darrin, and Locker. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Be back tomorrow.